You seem like such a nice lady. I almost don't want to bring this up, but I have no choice. You worked as an adult film in the adult film industry at one point. How
Mm-hmm.
did you get into that? Why and how long did you do it for?
So I did it from about 2008 is when I started doing like the modeling side of it, and then it very quickly progresses typically.
Right.
So probably about 2008, 2009, and then I got out at 2016, and I was doing like photo shoots at the end of 17. Like 17 was like my last year really working with any mainstream company. As far as like how did I get in and the why, I feel like that's such a complex and like when you ask why you end up anywhere, I feel like it's this constellation. There's all of these little touch points through your life and like parenting and trauma, and then also weird divine pulls. And that's going to sound kind of crazy to someone, but I felt like that was where I was supposed to be. And it's not like it was all great, but it certainly wasn't all bad either. And when it comes to like
Right.
personal development, it had forced me to learn that you have to evolve or you die, right? Like you can't be this one thing forever. And it makes you kind of work on all of these other aspects and get down to first principles of so many long held beliefs that some people just think it just is the way it always is. And there's only one way to do anything.
Right.
And, yeah, I mean, it forces you to look at your darkest shadows as well. So I think I'm a much better person because of those decisions. But why I got in, I mean, I grew up in the 90s. I think everything that was kind of promoted back then were all of the super babes, and these women seemed like walking goddesses and they had figured something out, right? Like Pamela Anderson had this like captured attention in a way that I'd never seen before. Carmen Electra, Tara Patrick, all of these superstars. And I'm like, well, they've figured something out. My parents split really early. So, I mean, I truly, and I say this, and I think it's probably controversial to probably a lot of people that are still in the industry, but I think if you have a solid relationship with your father, like a really present relationship, and you have a really good, healthy home, the chances of that girl ending up in porn are probably pretty low.
I
You know,
agree.
and I think you have the dad walk out early, that she's now learning men leave and I'm responsible for myself. It was very important for me for a young age to figure out how to be completely independent, like financially, like all my resources. I never wanted to rely on someone else because my examples that were doing that were like chasing guy to guy and we were moving all of the time and it was really unstable. So I was like, well, if I want stability, I have to provide that for myself. And that's a trap too, right? Because we're social creatures and we're supposed to bond, like we're supposed to experience this life together and no one's meant to do it alone. So I think that hardness was definitely necessary for a time, but it's like the what got you here won't get you there mentality. So
Yeah.
I had to learn to kind of shed that if I wanted to get to the next level and have real intimacy with my husband or have healthy relationships and learn that I can surrender and relax and it's not all unsafe and the pressure's not all on me. So it's a really complicated enigma.
Amazing. And so, and one day you're just walking down the road and you decided, you know what, I'm ready to get out of this type of work. I'm getting away from this. And were you able to just walk away from it? But before you answer that, I do remember Pamela Anderson and all those hot chicks.
Hmm.
They were hot.
So hot. So hot. And I mean,
I
they
totally
think
remember them.
if like they seemed like they had everybody's love too, you know,
Yeah,
like they had all the love, all the attention, they were powerful, and it's not the whole story. And
right.
we didn't have social media, so you didn't get to see different angles. You only saw the perfect curated one that they gave you. So I think that also can heavily influence you as well. Um, but yeah, when I decided to get out, I believe in fate. Like so I believe that God or the universe will kind of give you signs whether you're making decisions that are in alignment or kind of off track a little bit. And I think that those hints get louder and louder the more that you either listen or ignore them. And I felt like I was having just like someone screaming at me that it was time to leave. And for a while, I fought it because there was a lot of fear. It's like, well, what's on the other side of this decision?
Yeah.
Because it's not an easy one. It's very taboo. People kind of want you to stay there. It's like you made this bad choice and they don't really want you to become anything else. It's almost like you have to be punished for that choice that you
That
made
is so
in
true.
perpetuity.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, well, I can't have a normal job. I'll get fired, even though that's totally hypocritical because are you going to also fire everyone that's consuming this content? Probably not, just the person that made it.
Right.
And then what was all of this for? And then who am I aside from my alter ego? Because I had spent so much time there. And Eva was the one that had all the followers and the likes and was recognized. And that's also intoxicating. And that's really hard to leave. So I feel like it was kind of a slow transition, but that's when I introduced my real name to my fans and I was like, this is my real name. I'm a real person. I'm so much more than this one thing that I did. And I started by doing a cooking show. So I had a live cooking show on Twitch and I did that for a while. And I think it was like a really soft transition for a lot of people to just see the real me, like what, brought me happiness and what I was curious about. And then after having my first kid and 2020 kind of being the craziness that it was, I felt a responsibility to use my platforms for something more than just entertainment, so more educational and just trying to raise awareness about issues that I thought were important. So that's kind of what led me to the podcast.
You while filming these films, uh, did you ever feel like suicidal or like your life was just all at the end you wanted to give up and that type of stuff?
No, 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 never.
No.
And again, everyone's journey is like so different. When people talk about porn, it's like this one thing that we think is this atrocious monster, but there's very corporate porn and then there's very dodgy small companies as well. And there's different types of scenes. Like not every scene is wildly violent or like like a weird incestual storyline. Like there's also stuff that you could consider to be like erotica. Like they're not all the same thing. So it's when
Right.
you're talking about porn, like what kind of porn are we talking about?